All right, guys, we're here for the final section of this particular batch of information that we will cover for this, I guess, exam, so to speak. So you have section 1A.4, which is where you guys will be able to use evidence from current scientific literature to support whether a virus is living or non-living. So we can sort of debate, so to speak. Okay, so let's look at what a virus is and why would there be a debate on is it living or non-living? Okay, let me move me over here. All right, so viruses are particles of nucleic acid, protein, and lipids that invade living cells and reproduce. They are composed of a core of DNA or RNA surrounded by a protein coat called a capsid. They must invade a host cell to carry out functions of life. So, hear that very closely. They must invade a host cell to carry out the functions of life. Examples of common viruses include influenza, colds, chickenpox, the measles, polio, AIDS, and probably the one that we're all the most familiar with at the moment, the coronavirus, COVID-19. So you can see in our depiction of this particular virus, we have our DNA that's enclosed by the protein coat. It has this core here that would be used to, and you can see the little like protrusions here that would be used to latch onto a cell and then enter into the cell that it's trying to invade. Okay, so let's look at, I guess, the lineup. Is a virus living or non-living? So here are the living characteristics. It consists of a specific genetic code. Okay, checks that box. It can reproduce inside of a host cell, and it consists of DNA or RNA in a protein coat. I misspelled that right here. I'll go back and change it. And then, of course, the non-living characteristics of like the other side of the coin. It cannot reproduce on its own. It cannot grow on its own. It cannot obtain energy on its own, and it cannot respond to the environment on its own. But all of the non-living characteristics, all of these that create, like, kind of fall into that non-living side can occur once the virus is inside of a host organism. So it is capable of reproduction. It is capable of responding to the environment. It is capable of obtaining energy in some way. It is capable of growing and reproducing. It does have that genetic code being created of the DNA or RNA. So it's only able to do and perform these things, though, once it's inside of a host cell. So I'll ask you, is a virus living or non-living? Why don't y'all talk about it amongst your little group? And then we'll have, of course, some activities for you guys to do on this particular section. I'm proud of y'all. We have made it through the first batch of material. You guys are awesome. I will exit on out of here if I can figure out why it's not working. Here we go. Okay.